Who was this? Okay, I loved the cover of this comic book, but everything inside, I don't know who this woman was. So it's Riri Williams. She's waiting for her friend Xavier, who happens to coincidentally bump into the villain of the comic book, actually. They were in the same place at that time. Hey, very next page, they happen to coincidentally be on the scene of a crime of an AI related, Tony Stark related crime. Isn't that crazy? It happens to be Iron Man 2020, and that's the book we're doing. This book also takes place, I should say, to set the table, as if outlawed has happened. And that's going to become problematic when they return home. She saves the kid, and there's this part where she jumps over a car. I'm fine with all of that because she has been doing training simulations, so this shows that it's paying off. She's wearing shoes though, with Iron Man iron shoes, so she can jump in and you can see that it's boosting her. If that is the case, then she is actually wearing a suit. Why would she leave a suit at home? Especially after previous comics where we've seen her wear a suit around her elbows. She could conceal that underneath the jacket she's wearing. It's unbefitting of this character not to go and leave the home strapped. And if she is afraid of leaving the suit, then she wouldn't have wore iron shoes to be doing some superhero vigilantism. That's the crime. It's youth vigilante. I don't know the words actually, so I don't know who am I to tell you what the crime is. But the crime is that anyone under 21 can't be doing superhero stuff. She happened to do that. So like, who are we kidding? Like, what laws is she afraid of breaking later on when they talk to her? So when she's in the car, yes, she's a super genius, and her AI find out how to stop it. The intelligent cars were being forced to do this by Stark Enterprises. It's actually the villain, Andre Sim something, and he's the guy who sent this out. So Andre Sims is the villain, and we have access to that knowledge. We're back at home. Now, it's during Outlawed, where every solicit I see tells me that she's supposed to be on the run, but she's at home. They talk, and the defense that Riri gives Natalie for not actually busting into Andre's office and stopping him is something about the authorities and we gotta trust the system. When those words left her mouth, I can't believe it's even the same character. This woman trusts the system. Remember the first time she met Shield? Like, remember every incident in this character's history? If you don't, there's a video called Who is Ironheart on my channel that breaks down pretty much everything she's been to up to year 2019. But this is the 2020 Ironheart, so, Side rant, and this is unrelated to this comic book, but calling your events 2020 when you have a sliding timeline looks stupid when it's year 2021 and 2022 and we're reading the comic in 2023 and the characters still haven't aged. It's going to look really foolish. So she's going to, like, Natalie right now is completely in the right, 100% correct. We got to do this, and I don't know why Riri is sticking up for the company, the same company that in this character's past. Like, all this is fine if you don't include the past, but Stark and Enterprises, when the first time Tony Stark was dead and everything, they tried to take ownership of her suit. Like, it's not like, oh, we can trust these guys. She's been through it one time. Actually, she didn't even trust them back then. She was very anti them, but it's as if she didn't learn from the lesson, which she already knew the answers to and was proven correct. And she's like, nah, this time I'm going to give them a chance. That's just back asswards. So she trusts people and she's all about authority. The exact quotes that I had a problem with are, we have to trust the adults are going to deal with this. Isn't that what the champions are about? Which she is a member of that team, to be proactive and do things. Okay, and then the next quote was, my mom can be accused of neglect. So what? There's no secret identity, there's no image to maintain. Her home was already invaded by a villain, and it was Riri taking care of her mom. It's beyond neglect now. This is a full-fledged adult, 15 years old with the intellect of a genius. There are going to be moments where maybe her emotions are at a 15-year-old, but everything else, like, she has graduated that. She shouldn't worry about neglect. And they probably shouldn't really be living in a home after a home invasion, but that's just a general complaint of the Ironheart character, not specifically this comic book's fault. But Riri's not going to listen to this. Like, they can go to the courtroom. Riri's going to be like, yeah, I'm still going to live with my mom. If you're not going to let that happen in Chicago, I'll let that happen somewhere else. That's this character. Last time we seen her in Outlawed, she was like chewing gum in that courtroom and giving no cares. I don't think she's afraid of breaking the law. She's been to Canada. She's never had a passport. She took over Latveria. She went to Latveria. Latveria. Ooh, like, this character doesn't care about breaking no laws. I've never seen a moment over here where she's like, you know what? Like even in this own comic book, like a few pages earlier, if she would have saved that kid, that would have been some vigilante ism, and she decided to do it. She scoffs at tradition, if you will. I don't see this befitting of this character. And the other main problem here is she's actually going to show up at Stark Unlimited, and it says 3 days later. She's on the run according to Outlaw, but this happened 3 days later. She's chilling at home. We see her and everything's normal, and she showed up here 3 days later. She said, I'm gonna trust the adults to handle this, but she waited for 3 days for it to even happen. And she didn't even tell on him yet. Now, like on this day 3 is actually when she says, I'm already reporting you to the higher ups. Now, 3 days later is when she's reporting him to the higher ups. That's not befitting a Riri Williams. Come on now. She really waited 3 days? That's wrong. And then Natalie is gonna actually be a superhero here. With the whole AI thing, I believe it is. Well, it definitely is like a social commentary, especially early on the comic book when Natalie says all these humans don't get it. Just because others are winning, it doesn't make you obsolete. That's really cool and all. Except I just don't believe in that philosophy. That's fine, right? I'm allowed to have that opinion, and that's nothing against this comic book. But if you're an artificial intelligence, you're not alive. You're on. I can never see it that way. I actually like the mutant one better. That social commentary. I guess I can relate to that one more, but that's subjective. Everything else I'm talking about here, most of everything else I'm here talking about or complaining is like objective. I hate to be a negative Nancy on Riri Williams' comic book, but this was not that character. Having trust in adults and the system when a volume ago in comics, I saw a politician kidnap kids and keep them underground. The police showed up. She wouldn't even trust the police to say anything because she knew that some of these cops might have been crooked and under the payroll of the politician. So she just put up her hands and like, hey, please don't shoot me. And then she conformed to the authorities just so she would get out alive because she knew that a charge could be pressed on. Like this character is woke beyond the aspect of woke. What Riri Williams, if she was in the real world right now, she watched the Plandemic documentary and she watches the Dr. Fauci press conferences. This character is just so aware of everything, and this wasn't it, man. This was not it. All right, that's the rant, I guess. Kind of a rant, but it was more constructive. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. If you dislike the video, dislike. If you're part of Comicsgate, fuck off.